Welcome to Geordie Lass Doc Sass. One day, a Geordie and a Canadian walk into a bar and decide to start a podcast about relationships, and what a topic that is. No subjects are off limits. Get in touch today with us at geordielass.com or email info@geordielass.com and let us know what you think and what we should talk about. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello and welcome.
Hello. How's it going?
Oh, dispatching from a very grey January day in Toronto. When the New Year's come and gone, and now we're just into the long January. Yeah. We're here, everyone. This is...
Oh. Well, be a shock to your system, though, having come from some beautiful, lovely sunshine weather in Mexico.
Yeah, I know, totally. Oh my God, that was debauchery, but like not 20-year-old debauchery. It was 44-year-old debauchery. It's debauchery with like slightly creaky knees. Yeah,
it was fun, but still in bed by 10:30.
To be honest. There would be parties raging outside till like 7 a.m, and I was in bed by like midnight for sure, and lulled to sleep by the sound of the party outside. I was, I'm now a person who sleeps through parties. I'm excited to sleep through parties. Yes, this day has come. Yeah.
It reaches us all.
I was a real banger though. Like for the daylight hours, I was like tequila on the beach, day drinking. Because I met a wonderful lady there, also divorced, who we became fast friends at the hostel. And so we would like go out and do outings together and go to the beach, go to the supermarket, get a big bottle of tequila to prevent, the overpriced drink charges in Cancun. Yeah. So we'd be slipping little shots, and she was in charge of cutting the limes, and I bought some salt, and we just hit her off. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was great. It's just what the doctor needed.
It's always good to make some new friends, good connections, and just have some fun, right?
Yeah.
You are a free woman. You can have fun wherever you want now.
I know. And I found myself being like, whoa, Anna, don't be crazy. And I was like, you're divorced. You can do whatever you want. I feel like there's there's a time, I don't know, does it last a year when you be like, I'm just acting irrationally, I'm just being careless, or I'm divorced, it's okay.
Mine was definitely like a summer of fun.
A summer of fun.
And I had fun.
Yep.
So yeah, you need a little bit of madness, let loose. Well, as long as you stay safe.
And I am like, I don't know if there's condoms all over the place. Yeah, no, totally. Just saying. Yeah, absolutely. Just saying. But yeah, like, and it's so funny too, like, when something really hard happens to you, I'm really settling into this thing of like, that was last year. Like I got divorced last year. It's a nice thing to be able to, just like you said, just wipe that slate.
Just draw a line under it.
Yeah.
Whiteboard that, get that kitchen whiteboard clean, get it all sorted.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. So it's a gray day, but it's a clean slate. 2023 is looking pretty good. Yeah, wide road ahead. Road ahead.
All to play for.
Yeah. So how are things going on your neck of the woods?
Things are good. Yeah. It's I'm back on dry January. Just my usual. I'm on 7th or 8th year now of doing it. So I like to feel like, very moralistic at the start of the year.
Of course. I know you just
to make up for all the stuff that happened last year.
Totally. Yeah. So you feeling better?
Ironically, I don't sleep, like not sleeping that well, but it's weird. Somebody else said the same thing actually, because you get loads of people that say, oh my God, like my sleep's better, this is better, that's better, everything's better, I've got tons more energy, and I'm like, whoa. Not necessarily feeling that, but it is good. I think it's good to have a bit of break, just kind of not just break some of that cycle. I think a lot of it is habitual. We were making a lovely steak on Friday, and I was like, oh, nice bottle of red wine. No, we're not having red wine. Yeah. So it's good. It's just good to break that connection, I think.
Yeah.
And that association.
Oh, good for you.
So also getting shitloads of jobs done. Just brilliant.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, right, let's do something with the night.
Oh, interesting. That sounds wonderful. Yeah.
Trying to get this house straightened out.
Yeah, good for you. And it is the time to do that.
Exactly. There ain't nothing else going on in January.
Nothing else going on in January. But that leads me to ask, what's happening at the relationship desk of love? Is she awake? The correspondent?
Definitely.
Oh,
Definitely.
Excellent, excellent.
I've got a great one for you today.
Oh, damn. You should see Sarah. She's so proud of herself. Oh my God, that's so wonderful. I am looking forward to this one.
Just the funniest thing that I read today, and actually just kind of popped up just in time. Like, I love it when that happens.
Oh.
So there was always like little stories that I come across, and I'm kind of like, oh yeah, I could share that on the podcast. But today I saw a news article about a guy in Australia whose partner, who he met online and they were having a long distance relationship with, was very jealous of something else in his life.
Oh.
Would you like to know what that was?
Yes. I mean, so it's not another partner or a lover. Is it a dog? No.
No, it was not a dog, but it does begin with a D.
Another dick? No. Sorry, I'm divorced. I can.
That's all she's got on her mind.
That's my excuse. I'm divorced. Yeah. So
righty. So I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
So this guy, during lockdown, he got a little bit lonely and he was really struggling with kind of poor mental health and just not really feeling great, feeling quite depressed. And so he purchased himself a almost real life, intimate doll.
Oh,
like full size.
Yes.
And he liked this doll so much, he recently purchased another one. And he's got names for them, and they've got their own Instagram account with like thousands and thousands of followers.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. Yep.
So it didn't really go into detail in the article when it said intimate. My question was like, how intimate are these dolls?
Well, but they're like, people can have sex with these dolls.
How though?
And it's a question like there's like real analog, just like plastic blow up, or there's like really life size, like very.
These were like life size. Like he literally had one sat on his knee.
Yeah.
And he would dress them up and do the hair and like this is why they had their own Instagram account.
I think this is very common though, oddly.
Very common.
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, totally.
I've never heard anybody down the pub go, oh, do you know what I bought last week? Never. Never have I heard that conversation. Because believe me, I'd be right there asking questions.
You would be right there, like, because the correspondent.
Fascinated by it.
It is. Yeah.
So apparently these dolls have really kind of helped to boost his mental health. So when he explained to this long distance partner that he has never met about his relationship with his two real life dolls, he kind of explained that they were teaching him how to be more emotionally aware and how to just kind of appreciate the physical touch, and were really boosting his mental health and well-being.
Yeah, wow, interesting. And how did this go over with the long distance partner?
Eventually she came to terms with it. Said she could see that side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was something on the rise just because technology has really given way to like increased sophistication of robotics and especially like materials engineering, which allows for simulation of human skin and all that sort of stuff. And
yeah, I don't even know if they were like actual talking, because they didn't really say that in the article. It really looked like they talked. They just looked like a grown-up version of like a Cindy or a Barbie doll.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I think there might be some like prototypes that do like AI conversation, but I think that's like, if it's not out now, it's just around the corner, where there's intimate dolls with AI capabilities that can actually have conversations with you. Like, we're pretty much put out of a job, Sarah, you and I. It's
You better bag yourself a man now, girl.
Yeah, I can see this.
Before it's too late.
My shelf life. There's an expiry date on what I can offer, which is if I'm a warm body and a conversational person, both of those things can be replaced.
Although you have just reminded me about another article that I've got saved that maybe I'm going to share next week. So I'm going to bring it back for you next week.
Okay,
don't you worry.
Awesome. Oh, that sounds
don't
awesome.
you worry.
Oh, that sounds.
I better write down that.
Yeah, the correspondent is making a note from the desk.
Yeah, I've got one.
Desk.
Honestly, I've got one for you.
Oh,
right. Okay.
Nice.
You just jogged my memory. Right, I'm on
done
it.
and done. Done and done. That's awesome. That's a wonderful way to start up 2023. I do have to say that if I were a partner of somebody with an intimate doll, I don't know, I would have problems. Like, even though when at my coach, if I have my coaching hat on, I take more of a distant sort of an arm's length view. I sort of look at both sides. I encourage somebody to really sort of see from the stands level and as opposed to on the field. But I would have personally major issues because I'm high maintenance and I just need to be somebody's priority is what I'm now coming into 2023. I'm like this needy ass bitch that just needs a lot of attention. And I'm just going to go out and say it.
It's good to recognize who you are.
It is. I'm done being like, oh, I'm so easygoing. I can't believe I've lived decades of my life saying I'm easygoing. It's been the first.
I'm not easygoing. Sort your shit out. Be nice to me. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Stand up, boys. She's listening.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, anyways, I think that's the thing that us women have to do is just disavow ourselves of this illusion that we're easygoing, low maintenance, and not a lot of work.
Well, be who you are.
Yeah.
That is the moral of the story.
Well, I kind of have to be the intimate doll in somebody's life, is what I'm saying. That's
or somebody's lap.
Oh, yes.
The case may be.
Yes, I definitely have to be on somebody's lap. Yes, totally. Well, that is a heck of a lot of piece of news.
It is indeed. Yeah. So, I've got you started.
Well, it got me started, and I'm also I think I'm going to have to open up that cat sanctuary and be an old cat lady after all. I think the future's not too bright for us ladies, but let's see.
Not at all. You wait until next week.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sounds good. Perfect. Okay.
All right. Shall we move to a hot topic?
Yeah, let's go.
Today's hot topic. Recognizing strengths in your partner.
Okay.
I think this is a good thing to kick us off with in 2023 for our hot topic.
Hell yeah. It totally is.
I was thinking a lot about this actually over Christmas and New Year. And unfortunately, my partner and I were separated, not permanently, but just because of some family. Some unfortunate circumstances meant that we didn't get to spend much of the holidays together as we wanted to. And that kind of gives you some space to think about things. And obviously we're newly together in a new house. And so we kind of just got used to each other and then kind of had to get used to that again. And so that was quite tricky. And it kind of got me thinking a lot about kind of strengths and kind of it can be so easy, can't it, to just focus on all the things that you don't receive from your partner or things that you feel like you do, which is more than they do. It's well, I do this. You can reel off as the martyr, a long list of all the things that you bring. But we have to be able to recognize the strengths that other people bring to the relationship, whether that's intimate or otherwise. See, with siblings, with family, don't we? Or you often get it with adult and parent relationships as well. So when you kind of grow up a bit and you start to see your parents through a different lens, you're kind of oh my God, they add nothing to my life, or find it really, really hard.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
You sit there thinking about all the things they don't do, how they don't kind of make you feel kind of welcome in their life, or they don't make an effort. It's that kind of role reversal I think you get when you get older as a child. You can often, I hear it with a lot of kind of clients and friends, well, they never think about ringing me. It's it is role reversal from those teenage years. But so, if we look at the relationships that we've got and the relationship that we have with our partner, if we can really kind of start off the year focusing on what are the strengths and, not even thinking about what do they bring to the relationship, just think what are the things that I really like? What are the things that I admire? What do I think that they do really well? And not in a kind of competition way or a comparison way, either to the things that you do or the things that you think other people's husbands or partners or wives or whatever do. Because that can be the other kind of downfall, is this comparison syndrome where we're constantly comparing them to Bob and Jane down the pub, who are just obviously super amazing. Don't know who Bob and Jane are, by the way.
Right.
If I know a Bob and Jane, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, totally. Not you, Bob and Jane, the other one.
Yeah, not that one. It's the other one. They're in the different pub, Bob. Honestly, Bob, settle.
Oh my God, it's hilarious. Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think?
Oh my gosh, yeah, and like totally. Oh, and comparisons. My gosh, like, oh, there's a can of worms there, Sarah. There's a can of worms. But the long story short is, like, absolutely nobody is as happy as they would have you believe.
Yeah.
There's a bit of post-romanticism that's coming in. I'm in a bit of my post-romantic phase of my divorce, where I'm like, romance doesn't exist and everyone's unhappy. That's not true, though. But I'm just going through that this week. Anyways, but no, definitely, like, the comparisons are gonna kill you. Like, they're gonna kill you. And in addition to recognizing the strengths of your partner without comparing to, like, what the Bob and Janes of the world are doing, it's also recognizing the strengths of your partner when you can see that they're doing something that was really hard for them. Might not have been hard for me. Might not have been hard for the person down the street. Yeah. But if it was hard for them, then the strength is that you persevered despite how challenging it was. So, you know, I think it's a great time to acknowledge, like, you know, my partner spoke up and said, you know, I really would like it if you could do this for me. And it seems so simple and small, but they never do that. They never open up and express their need. And as a result, it offers and allows a communication exchange that strengthens. So I love thinking about, like, wow, that was really hard for you. I know how difficult that must have been for you. And I really acknowledge and admire you for doing that. That's important. Because we're not all on the same, like, scale of things. No. We don't all have the same standard or benchmark.
Yeah. I think there's a few things in that as well, isn't there? Like, sometimes that opening up and asking for help or asking support or saying, I find that really difficult. I know that you could do really well. Like, can you help me with this? Like, that can be kind of that's a strength. People talk about vulnerability being a weakness. It's like, so not. It's like the biggest superpower that you've got, because it opens you up to somebody else and allows you to create a whole different connection that you would never have otherwise.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, I think there's a combination of other stuff as well, isn't there? We talked a little while ago on the podcast about noticing the little things. And I like this in this topic as well, thinking about strengths, because sometimes it is just about some of those small little gestures. So I got a message today from my partner, and it was about kind of going to something, and he put like a little kind of something on the end, and I just thought, oh, you've thought about me there. Oh. You know, you've thought about kind of maybe how I might have been feeling about a certain situation, like really showed kind of some empathy, not in a big grand gesture way at all, but just, you know, one sentence that meant, actually, I know that you've thought about how I'm going to feel in that situation or with something, and you've included that on the message. I think, so sometimes that thoughtfulness is important to recognise, because that's a strength. If people think about us, if our partners think about us and demonstrate that by something they've said or something they've done, you know, what about all the times when you've asked for something not to be done a certain way because of whatever reason, and your partner takes notice of that and goes, all right, it's not a big deal to me, so I can tell it's something that's important to you. I will put the toilet seat down. Or whatever the case may be. Yeah.
I'm still stuck at, like, that little something put at the end that says, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm like, what? That's it. I'm not post-romantic anymore. That's just got me all the butterflies going.
Oh, we brought her back to love.
You brought it back. I'll tell you, I had this interaction where somebody said to me, they said, look, I look at a couple watching a sunset, and I wish that I had somebody to watch the sunset with. Oh. And I was like, I don't. I like watching sunsets by myself. I have I'm so post-romantic. Like, I don't find anything romantic anymore. But I think it's because I'm not naive anymore. And, you know, when like really great communication is really turning me on. When I heard, when you tell me about that little extra something your partner adds at the end of this thing of, you know, let's go out, and I'm thinking about how this might be challenging for you. I'm feeling a little hot under the hood, if you know what I'm saying. Like, so I don't think it's sunsets that do it for me anymore. I think it's just really rock solid communication. Throbbing, rock solid communication.
Relationship patterns, then that's going to be the thing that's going to win Anna's heart.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, totally. My God. What an aphrodisiac. I don't need strawberries and oysters.
Healthy love pattern any day.
Oh my God. Totally. Totally. So acknowledging those strengths, right? Because it's not going to be like, I showed you this sunset in Belize, or I bought you this $5,000 ring. It's like,
although I'll take that, by the way.
Yeah.
Just in case you're listening.
Yeah. Hello.
I'm open to rings.
Yeah. But yeah, it is the small things which are the mighty things. And that is where our partner's strengths lie.
Yeah.
It's the small, it's the consistent things. It's the things that go unnoticed. Yeah, unchampioned. It is the, I always make dinner for the family. I'm always making dinner. I'm always the one thinking about what are we going to eat that night.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be new. Doesn't have to be different.
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So we
I'm
all
feeling
have to make a
lovey-dovey.
commitment.
Yeah.
I'm going to challenge you and the listeners. You can do this in any relationship you want, Anna.
Like with myself?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
I'm going to challenge you to just recognize the strengths, and if you can't, communicate those back.
Yeah, you know what's funny is that actually ties in, because there's a lot of I'm finally listening to my own coaching advice, which is to actually, like, I haven't yet gotten in front of a mirror because that's just terrifying to say good stuff to myself in front of the mirror, but I've started to have this daily reminder on my phone that pops up, and I am to tell myself, Anna, you are lovable. You are loved and lovable. And I'm like, nah. Yeah. But because I have to keep hearing that and repeating it. And I think I can add to that, you know, and your strength is this, and you were really great at that today, and so forth. Yeah. So, yeah.
Absolutely. It's got to be done.
Yeah.
Daily mantras are very powerful.
Recognize them and tell them to myself, because that's where that's who I've got a relationship with these days. So it's the best.
And that's the most important relationship you'll ever have.
It is. It is. Today, I think my strength was that I wasn't a Karen. I didn't show up as a Karen. And apologies to folks who... My mom's name is Karen. She's not a Karen. But anyways, so I had to run around getting... So I'm bringing my cat to Greece. And I need to get health certificates and stamped by the federal government to be able to take her over. And there was a mistake on the form, which was mine. I used the wrong form. And so I had to go back to the vet, and I had to keep driving about 20 kilometers back and forth. And I took everything in stride today. I did not freak out. I was like, okay, that's cool. And everything kind of worked out, even though it took way many more trips than I thought. I'm really, my strength today was not freaking out, not shoveling my mistake onto making somebody else feel badly, not yelling, screaming, or throwing a tantrum. Yeah. So I put my big girl pants on today. I did a lot of driving, and it all worked out in the end. And I did so in a respectful manner to everybody, and I'm extremely proud of myself.
We are proud of you.
Yeah, yeah. It's the small things. Mm-hmm.
And it is important to recognize your own strengths as well.
Yeah, it's not going to be a strength every day, but it was a strength today.
Exactly.
Totally. Yeah.
You did it. Knocked it out of the park.
Totally knocked it out of the park, man. Totally. We are definitely going to Greece with a cat for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yay.
I know.
Anna is ready to travel.
There's all sorts of jokes, but yes.
I was going to say something there. She's hot to trot and ready with her pussy.
God, awesome, Sarah. Oh my God, yes. Why?
I'll leave it up to you if you leave that one in.
And I damn well will, because I get to edit this thing, and you know what? That's just the amount of spice.
I know it's going nowhere.
Oh, it's totally staying in. Oh, you're welcome, dear listener. Yeah.
You can have that one on me.
No X-rated blooper reel for us. It all goes live. That's awesome.
Alrighty. Shall we take a question then?
Yeah, let's go.
should I tell my husband that I'm hurting, even though it's been 2 years since his affair?
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So when an affair happens, it's not like it just gets swept under the rug and it's done. That's the thing. Like,
Well, sometimes it does get swept under the rug.
oh, it's true, because some people or both parties decide that it's easier to just pretend like nothing ever happened and just, and that, just saying, is not healthy, but just saying. But definitely, like, an affair throws a bomb, a nuclear bomb in a relationship, and a relationship is never the same. And as Esther Perel says, you can pretty much kiss that relationship goodbye. Even if you decide as two people to move on together, it is a new relationship, because that old one was totally destroyed by that.
Yeah, the relationship as you know it
It's
no
World
longer
War
the
III
same.
gone,
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
So does it surprise you that somebody is still hurting a bit 2 years later? Doesn't surprise me
No,
at
it
all.
doesn't surprise me at all. I think it makes me a bit sad because I think, 2 years is quite a long time, and I don't think this hurt has just suddenly kind of popped back up again. I would, hazard a guess that the hurt's been there ever since the affair or betrayal, whatever kind of words you want to use, happened. So I think, that it's quite sad to think that somebody's suffered that long and not kind of, not said anything. We don't know, obviously, how much discussion they had in the beginning. Sometimes I think the temptation can be you kind of get everything out in the open, you have a big long debate, discussion, and eventually that just gets a bit too emotionally draining to keep going over the same context over and over again. So you can imagine it comes, it's got kind of a shelf life in terms of discussion point, and eventually you do have to kind of, say, right, we've got to make a decision. Are we going to kind of, best foot forward and try and repair and mend and heal things? And obviously this person hasn't healed and is still there with that hurt. They're still carrying that burden. Yeah. And it, sounds like maybe the husband has moved on and has kind of parked it. And so they're in this situation where one party's still feeling quite upset and aggrieved and troubled by this, and the other party's just in a different zone.
Like the statute of limitations is over, and it's you're living in a post-affair world where there's one person who thinks that, but not two. Yeah, totally.
So the question then, should she tell her husband?
Yeah. There's no right or wrong here, but definitely the kind of the two sides of the pendulum swing would be either, like, one side would be that the book was closed too soon, as if like the expectation to have gotten over this is sort of closed, and it's no longer, you can tell that she doesn't feel like this is an open topic of conversation that she can continue to bring up. The other part of the pendulum, the other possibility on the other side is that this has been hashed and rehashed, and that she might be living in a bit of a limbo where she, just like you say, is possibly dragging this out emotionally more than it necessarily, like she does need emotionally to decide for herself whether she can ever move on. At the 2-year mark, it's not absolutely clear, because I really do place that in, I believe professionally and personally, that there's a lot of TLC, and the book needs to be open, and the case still needs to be open to keep working on emotions that come up after the affair. I don't think 2 years is too soon. To say that the person who strayed, let's just say, whatever, title they want in this part of it, the person who was unfaithful, they do have to be prepared to continue to talk about this with their partner when their partner has feelings. And they may not have feelings every day of the calendar. Yeah. It may come up in certain times, like at the anniversary of discovering the affair, or a certain person that they saw that day that reminded them of something. It doesn't matter what the trigger, but there are going to be triggers, and it can be years later. And you still have to be able to open up the conversation and say, okay, feelings are coming up, let's talk about them.
Yeah. I think for me, the fundamentals are, you can't, it's not very easy to have a successful, happy, healthy relationship if you can't talk about the things that worry you the most. So this is something obviously that's on this listener's mind. They have taken the time to, share this, and it's clearly there. There's clearly something. And if you're in such of an emotional place where something is worrying you, something is niggling, something is nagging at you, and you can't share that with your husband, who's supposed to be your kind of lifelong companion and the person that you're kind of closest to, who you share everything with, who you are open, vulnerable, you kind of share your fears, your happiness, they support you, they console you, they, and I'm not saying that we're kind of all things to all men, but you've got that connection where it should be the first person that you turn to. And by not opening up and by not sharing this, you're almost putting a barrier there or keeping a barrier there if a barrier was kind of put up when the original affair happened, or maybe the barrier's always been there. But you're kind of maintaining this separation where there are some things I'm prepared to kind of broach with you, and there are other things that I'm not. So you haven't got that kind of, access all areas that you would like to have in a relationship to fully connect with each other. So I think that, that is a big side of it, where I think fundamentally you should be able to, and I've witnessed it in other relationships where I haven't been able to do that, and it causes quite a lot of angst and heartache and frustration, and all of that has to have an outlet somewhere. So that would be the kind of the potential downside of keeping everything kind of bottled up. The other thing, which is another possibility, but again, I would still advocate for some openness about this and honesty, is to just seek some professional conversations to help you to process it, to work through it, to understand, where your emotions are in a kind of healthy, safe space. But I would still say, be really open about, I'm struggling still a bit with this. I know it's been 2 years, and, some would say potentially I should be over it. I don't feel like I'm over it. And I've decided that the best thing for me is to go and get some professional support to address it, and, and then kind of share the things that you almost want to share. So it's not about sharing kind of every single step or detail, but I think there is something about, keeping your partner a little bit abreast of what's going on and coming back with some, suggestions. So trying to make it a real kind of positive experience, an experience that allows you to let go of the past.
Yeah.
And allows you to take that step forward into the future. Because anytime when we're holding ourselves fixed at a point or fixed with a backstory, it's there for a reason, and it's trying to understand what is the reason. I did a session with a client last week and asked a similar question about kind of, how is it helping you to be there? And, the answer was it's not. And I said, but, you need to think a little bit deeper, because there's some reason why it is helping you, why you feel on a more subconscious level that being there is helpful.
That is probably one of the hardest coaching questions. That is so true.
It's impossible, right?
Yeah, it is.
But I do often believe that we know deep down kind of what it is that we get from that situation. So we might not know kind of the full intricate details, but if we look hard enough, I do think that we know often the reason. Yeah.
It's the hardest thing, and it's the hardest thing to look inside. One of the things, as I think about, because I've had troubles where like an infidelity incident keeps coming back like a bad dream, and the flashback of that hurt and that feeling for what happened, it feels like it happened yesterday. It's so raw. You start fantasizing about the whole thing over again, about the anger and the hurt. So if you were to ask me like, well, how is it serving you that comes up years later, right? I would say like it reinforces that I'm a victim in the story, both the victim and the hero, or there's a right and a wrong. And it reinforces this decision that I don't want to trust again. And again, there's many layers of trust. You can trust somebody to take care of the kids, but can you trust somebody with your intimate self and your heart? That is the last thing to come back online again. And it can take years. But if I'm rehashing the past, and if it keeps coming up, like I'm going to say that feeling of that flashback of memory is probably going to come when I've had a really beautiful, intimate connection with my partner where we really have gained a lot of ground together. And I'm probably going to notice that that feeling is going to come up very shortly thereafter to try to sabotage that closeness.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there is a feeling of, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of fidelity. I am not lovable. And somebody is always going to cheat on me and always disappoint me and let me down because I'm not inherently lovable. So I'm going to make that so.
Yeah. The other, it's that fear as well. It's that kind of fear of rejection, fear of abandonment.
And it tends to be triggered when your partner is really showing up and actually leaning in.
Absolutely. Because you don't want to believe that that's who they are.
Yeah.
Because what if they're not like that all the time?
Yeah. And then I would have to let go of the story of I am unlovable. I'm going to be rejected. Like I was probably rejected by my parents, my family, my father, whatever that might be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if you keep doing that, you will get rejected because your partner will give up on you. And it sounds so horrible to say, but not 2 years, but 15 years down the road, if you still haven't decided to let that into the past and to totally 2 feet in, you will 9 times out of 10 lose your partner and they will walk away from you. And then you'll be able to say, see, they rejected me and
told you so.
Told you so. Yeah. So then the question to me is, so Anna, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's where hiring a professional, if you're going to hire a professional who can kick your ass, who can be like, and you're like, oh, I'm having these feelings coming up. And the professional's like, so how is that serving you? And be a little bit of a referee. Like, you know, don't you think that's a bit old? Do you think the statute of limitations on that particular feeling has passed? Do you decide to let that into your past and let that be? And so that, you're right. That can be helpful.
Got a fierce head on.
I really do. I really do.
So what's the verdict then? Should the listener talk to her husband and tell him what's been going on?
Yes, and both. So the thing is, so when I find with men, right? So I'm going to say in instances where a man has stepped out, because I coach men and they're terrified that their woman is never going to get over that thing. So that's why they're in such a rush to put it under the rug because they just hope that if it goes away, that it won't last forever. And so if you're going to bring this up with your partner, it can be helpful to say, look, I'm not going to feel like this forever and I'm not going to hold us in purgatory forever, but it's just coming up for me now. And if we can just have a chat about this, it'll help move me forward so much. Yeah. So I think the prefacing is important. I think in the same breath, and you know what, I thought I was really doing quite well, but I think I might benefit from some professional help, which I'm going to go get. So I think both.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Whenever we have any form of communication, I think we've always got to consider how the other person's going to receive it and trying to deliver it in the best, kindest, most compassionate way, especially when it's a tricky message.
Yeah. And remember, partners can be ostrich in the sand. If you can bury it, it doesn't exist. And a lot of things attempt to be buried.
But realistically, though, who doesn't want to move on from their mistakes quickly? I do.
Oh, yeah. Who does want to be reminded?
It's done now.
No,
Thank
you're right.
You. See you later.
Oh, my God.
Nobody wants to kind of sit in that for a long space. Nobody.
No.
No man, no woman, affair, whatever. Whatever mistakes we make, we want to move on quickly from them.
We do, but again, The State of Affairs by Esther Perel is a great book, audiobook, and it really does hammer home, like if you want to move on, both parties need to do if you want to move on together, both parties need to do the work. As the person who is cheated upon, you do need to decide when you want to trust and for how long is it serving you to hold the old hatchet. But for the person who is the strayer, they have to work overtime and extra and over above to really keep their nose clean. And I know this sounds terrible, but like you kind of have to be a lot more transparent about messages, phone messages, the times of day that you're coming home. Unless you're a polyamorous person and you always want to have multiple partners, in which case, please come out in the open and say that rather than taking your partner for a fool. Like they'll figure it out. But it's going to require probably more transparency with phone messages. There's probably not a lot of leeway for you to be getting your phone going off at 2 a.m, right? So you just have to kind of keep your nose clean and just have a lot more transparency with your partner. Make a lot of things on board. Don't leave things for interpretation.
Yeah.
You really do have to do the apology tour. Hate to say it, not forever, but for longer than you'd like. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But you can do it. You can do it. Both of you can do it.
There was always hope.
There's always hope.
Mm.
Yeah. And I will say this too. I'm sorry, this is kind of turning into a dour January, but I've also coached somebody for whom there were multiple affairs over multiple years. And there was a straw that broke the camel's back. And when a partner's trust is broken, it can be like a fine piece of china that just breaks into a million pieces and you can't glue it back together. So I will say this. I have actually seen where there's been one affair too many, and it's just, you can't come back. So just saying.
And some relationships won't even come back from one affair.
Yeah.
So.
And it is what it is, right? No judgment there.
Yeah.
If at 2 years you're like really struggling to move on, and you've tried everything and you've sought professional help and you've tried to have clear communication with your partner and you're still really having trouble to move on, you might be in that bucket, and that's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah. All right.
Oh my gosh, this is such an emotionally charged question.
It is.
Had a lot of the feels in there, both professionally and personally. Yeah.
Yeah. It's connecting deep.
It is. It is connecting very deep. And it's the thing that we all fear, right? We all want to make this topic go away. Infidelity, none of us like this at all.
Yeah.
But hopefully you're a bit more prepared.
Yes. Well, we are back.
We are so back. We're in the trenches. We're in the oh my God, the scrum of it.
Yeah.
Aha. All right.
Feels good to be getting back to our regular regime.
What energy we've got to take on the hard topics. What?
Yeah.
Totally. Oh man. Well.
All righty. Well, bring on 2023.
Bring it on, the rest of January. The days are getting longer here up in the Northern Hemisphere, just saying.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, yeah.
And
soon enough, it's going to be bikinis in Toronto. It's going to be awesome.
We'll be there.
We will indeed.
Well, I shall wish you safe travels, and you're going to be recording from a European destination very soon.
I know, we're both going to be on the same time frame.
I know.
Well, we won't be doing wine o'clock, but we'll be...
I was going to... How quickly I forget I'm doing dry January. I was like,
by the way,
depends what time we're recording. And then I'm like, oh, no,
I know, and you're like, oh, shit, see?
No, we're not.
It's the habits.
Doing that.
We're not
It's
doing
not happening.
It's not
fine.
happening. It's okay. You're totally cool with it.
I had such a short-term memory though, like little Dory the fish.
Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh, totally. Dry what?
Dry what? What is that?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I've remembered.
Oh man, that's right. You're on it.
Okay, my lovely.
Right.
So I shall look forward to next week, and you are in a lovely exotic location, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I shall be looking forward indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
All righty.
All right.
Till next time. So that's it for another week of Geordie Lass and Doc Sass. We hope you've enjoyed listening as much as we've enjoyed chatting. Get in touch and share your questions for relationship remedies and any hot topics you want us to cover. If you need help navigating all things relationships, Anna and Sara are available for one-on-one coaching support. Email info@geordielass.com. Please remember to like, share, subscribe if you've enjoyed listening. And if you've not, how on earth have you made it this far? I promise we'll try harder next time.